And for more on this captivating story, I'm joined now by Professor Toby Miller from Loughborough, University of London. Toby, hello to you. Well, as we just heard with Helen Ann Smith's report there, Meghan has returned to Canada. Prince Harry is dealing with the fallout from this shock announcement. So many questions. What will this mean for the royal family?
Well, so far there's been one major poll which suggests that the British public is understanding of what Harry and Meghan are doing, and that there will be minimal impact in terms of, for example, Republican sentiment. At a familial level, of course, we've all just gone through Christmas and New Year, a time when many of us imagine fondly that family reconciliations will happen, that family harmony will prevail, but often, in fact, fault lines emerge. And it's alleged, for example, that rather than simply walking away from responsibilities, the Sussexes, in fact, feel as though they were pushed. It's one of those did she fall or was she pushed stories through, for example, not being part of the photo that was in the Queen's Christmas message, through a diagram photo being released recently about accession to the throne that excluded them, and that in a way this is an ongoing struggle. So part of the issue is obviously the image of the royal family more generally, and part of it is about the family dynamics that we're all subject to.
Yes, there are a lot of mixed emotions on it. The Queen doesn't appear to be rolling over on this. She wasn't aware of the decision prior to them making the announcement. Is there anything at all that she can do to force them to remain active royals?
That's a very interesting point. One of the things that they've tried to forestall on their website is the notion that they are massively dependent financially on the royal house. And that's become a sticking point, because a lot of the money they get, as far as we can tell, comes from the Prince of Wales, his Duchy of Cornwall, which brings him in millions of pounds every year, much of which goes to them. Some of their money comes from his inheritance from his late mother, and some from her very successful career as an actor. So there could be financial means that are used, and also in terms of their future independence. If, for example, the Queen were to say, you can't use the word royal in any of the materials that you seek to copyright or trademark, that could have a big impact and might pull them back. But one senses that soft diplomacy that would be about families trying to reunite rather than big sticks being wielded might be the way.
And Helen Ann Smith also made a good point in her report. She said that they would have to, work this out quite quickly. Would you agree with that?
Oh, I think at a certain level, yes, because this obviously has been a shock to many players, it's been a shock to us as members of the public and royal watchers, if you like. And the fact that it appears as though Meghan has decamped to Canada, and it appears as though they're talking about dividing their time, 6 months of the year in North America, 6 months of the year in Britain, will really become a kind of final note. So what needs to happen quite quickly, I suspect, if they are in fact to resume these so-called royal duties, is that the House of Windsor needs not to sort of circle the wagons and be defensive, but in fact reach out and say, you're in a Commonwealth country that has a monarch in the Queen of Canada when she's there. You want to continue your service to the royal family. That's great. Now, how can we go about it? And some of that will be about formal ties, and some of it will be about presumably trying to get some reconciliation between the brothers, Harry and William, and their wives.
And finally, Professor, do you think this is going to become the new normal? Are we just seeing the royal family step up into the modern era?
That's a really great point. I think once Prince Charles becomes king, which presumably has to happen in the next years or so, then we'll see a real crisis for the royal family of legitimacy, given the extraordinary regard in which the Queen is held. And when we think back 25 years to the breakup of his first marriage, many people said that would be the end of the House of Windsor. Well, if anything, it got stronger in the aftermath. And this modernization effort, so-called, by the Sussexes may in fact stimulate a further modernization, perhaps though that'll take until the succession after the next one, when William becomes king.
Professor Toby Miller, appreciate your time and expertise. Certainly a very, very interesting story there, and plenty more to come. Thank you.